Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our second series of the night. It will be Vici Gaming versus KG.Luminous, and it is, of course, MLPDota, joined by the lovely johnxfire. John, I believe the issues are resolved, so hopefully everything goes smoothly now, and I believe also the construction that was going on without your notice is also resolved, so that's nice.
Yeah, it does feel nice to make sure that my house isn't falling apart around me, Mike. I do appreciate that my neighbors gave advance notice that my wall would be torn down. I really appreciate that. It's
Good.
just sometimes you don't want your neighbors to gaze, so I have moved back outside. I am surrounded. No gardeners today, Mike. Can't afford them anymore. Had to send them off. But we are here for a new series, Vici Gaming up against KG.L. Vici Gaming, of course, on top of their group so far. KG.L having come out with basically 2 draws, if I recall right, in their series. So we'll see if KG.L can secure their first series win, or if it will stay the route and, stay tied up, or if VG shows us why they're #1 in their group and 2-0 KG.
Yeah, well, they certainly have been playing very well, Vici Gaming, and one of the players I should say you got to watch out for is really DY. He has been making a hell of a lot of plays. We also saw Yang the other day on that Sand King, who was just unkillable and really setting up some crazy plays for his team. But the draft has started. We do see a Doom, Rubik, and Razor coming out.
Yeah, this opening from VG it almost feels like the opening from the last games, right? I mean, this was always there as well in the last game, wasn't it? Rubik Razor was the opening for, I believe it was CDC that ran it first, or was it KG? Anyway, it comes out here again, Mike. The Rubik Razor, it does work out well. The changes to Razor are nice, but you do still prioritize that plasma field and static link. The Rubik, of course, is always strong, turning the enemy spells against him, and with the changes to his null field, he is a bit stronger now as well. Whereas KG.L, they go with the Doom, very hard to kill hero, very tanky, a lot of innate regeneration now with the changes to Devour. Glitch as well, a lot of crowd control, provides a lot of tankiness as well with that Frost Armor change. And he's really potent, just really messes up your rotations if you're not careful, or really drags you into a bad spot. The issues with a hero now is that, of course, you don't have that lane dominant effect of sapping XP way, but you are much more of a menace offensively now.
Well, we have a couple more banouts before we get to see what the next few banouts or next few pickups are, but these are the heroes that really start to show in this new meta. They really are powerful. The Lich, of course, ridiculous in my opinion. That Frost Shield is probably going to get a substantial nerf in the next patch, I'm sure. But we'll wait and see. I mean, John, we always talk about the Lich having mana issues because they did remove the third ability, the sacrifice, of course. But in all honesty, every time we see the Lich, they don't really seem to have that problem. Like, their mana pool seems fine. They seem to be able to spam those abilities quite often. They never seem to be out of mana.
I think that comes down to the fact that the emphasis for Lich's harass has moved away from Frost Nova, from his Q. It's really now on Frost Armor, because it does damage on its own as well, along with the slow, and it just really sets up for your gank. Sure, you still get a value point in that Nova at level 1, you do grab that still, but it's not your main harass tool. Your main harass tool is giving your lane partner ice armor and having him run up. That's basically your harass contribution. It's not as mana intensive, so you really don't feel the lack of sacrifice anymore.
We do see the Beastmaster, another very popular hero coming out. Vici Gaming, they have been running this pretty often, and it has been working out very well for them. I think the terminology or the phrase that we keep using is basically Beastmaster has a free ward now with that Hawk. And it really does pay off. Like, the amount of vision you get just from being able to send that Hawk away and just get that vision around a certain area of the map really does make it able so your team is just able to set up a smoke attempt and go for a nice easy gank.
Definitely so. The emphasis on the Beastmaster now is mainly on the summons. As you mentioned, the Hawk is free vision basically, because when you send it out, it's already invisible. It's always invis while moving. It doesn't need to wait, and it's invis from level 1. So you have that utility straight off the bat. The boars are, because of that change, I feel like there has been that re-emphasizing of that minion summon. And, it works out quite well because when you max those summons, of course, your boars hit much harder and you can push towers that much faster. So the Beastmaster should be able to get a lot done here for VG. Again, they've been running this hero a lot as well in the past few series we've watched from them, and to really good effect. It doesn't quite reveal everything in their, in their strats so far, but I feel like with a Razor it works out well. You buff up his attack speed with your aura, and just single target stun is very beneficial for Razor, so he should be able to get quite a fair bit in static link.
KG.Luminous now. Third pick for them. They are using a little reserve time for this. They will actually go for that Shadow Shaman pickup, and another very strong support, John. You always tell me that base damage is just... It's so hard to trade with this support in the laning phase.
It's really hard to trade with. Not just the base damage, but also the nuke damage coming out as well. You have that Ether Shock, which is really good. The level 1 disables are great as well. Once you have that Hex to just slow them down, then you hold them with the Shackles for a very long time. A lot of kill potential already coming out for KG.L in that early game. Vici Gaming do pick up the Dazzle, and it looks to be a support Dazzle this time, Mike. So going away from the emphasis on that core Dazzle, I believe, unless they're going to do something funky and, run a support Beastmaster with a Rubik. I'm not sure if we're going to see that from VG.
Well, you constantly tell me that Dazzle should have been run core, but then we saw it didn't really work as core either. Do you think it's smart to put in that support position?
Dazzle still has its strengths. I feel like there are so many other heroes that just do so much better than it in the lane. And by the time you reach late game, again, it's getting to that late game as Dazzle if you're running it as core. That's the issue we noticed so far. He just can't flash farm for big items in these pro games at least. And we see him pick up a Necrobook level 1 with level 1 ult. And he does have a really good uptime on those creeps. It just feels underwhelming so far. As a support, again, I feel like it remains to be seen how good it is. I feel like you do have better choices, like say the Lich and the Shadow Shaman, which KG.L have. I feel like those are much more stable supports, much stronger in the lane, and they provide different sets of utility going forward as well.
Well, we did see the fourth pick as well, John. KG.Luminous. They went for the Morphling. Now, we saw this yesterday, where they picked up a Morphling with no real reason behind it. I believe, from what I can tell, I do believe it is because there's a Razor, so you can just morph static link and then morph back into the Morphling and still get the link damage, but is it worthwhile to go for the Morphling?
In this case, I'd say probably yes, just for morphing into Razor and getting that static link. That is pretty potent in and of itself. I feel even morphing into Beastmaster just to get maybe one boar out to help with your push, or to get a Hawk flying out, that's pretty good as well.
10 seconds.
Or even a Dazzle, like turning to Dazzle and having Grave, and graving yourself and shifting back.
5 seconds
You
remaining.
can't die, Mike. That's a really strong way of escaping if they're ganking you up with the Dazzle. They don't manage to kill you off in a stun. Just morph into Dazzle, shallow grave yourself, and get out.
Yeah, it's a bit of a ridiculous thing. Now that you point all that synergy out, it does make a lot of sense. We'll see how successful this Morphling pick is, though. Of course, John, we can't forget, and I wanted to bring this up, with Rubik, with the fact now that he removes status resist with his third ability, like that Beastmaster Roar is going to last so much longer if that Rubik is around. And, of course, I was about to ask what carry Vici Gaming would go for, but Paparazzi, we saw him have a fantastic game with AM the other day. I'm not too shocked to see it come back.
I am a bit worried for KG.L now. Sure, that Morphling's going to be great if you can turn into Ori's Razor, static link someone, turn into Dazzle, and shallow grave yourself for an ally. You have great push for the Shadow Shaman and the Pugna, but that AM is just kind of scary, Mike. We've seen Paparazzi again play it before. He farms excellently. not even the Doom's kind of a threat now, because if you just play your cards right, chances are he's going to Doom himself. Because of the changes to Spell Shield. Sure, early levels, you're probably going to get a Doom for sure. At least maybe twice or thrice. But as it scales on, as that uptime, as that downtime of the Spell Shield goes lower and lower, it's going to be harder and harder to land these, to land that Doom on AM. Or even the Shackle, even the Hex. So you will have to watch out for your timing if you're going to jump Paparazzi. I think KG.L definitely have to play for the early game here. They cannot stand to wait until Paparazzi's online. They have to apply the pressure early on, and they do have the heroes to do that. Their supports are great in the early game. The Pugna pushes and takes objectives really fast, and the Doom just sustains himself in lane and dominates the lane he's in for the most part.
Yeah.
So KG.L does have to play to that strength. Shut VG down while they're weak in the early game, at the very least while Anti-Mage is weak in the early game, and try to get as much done as possible within the first 20 to 25 minutes.
Of course, and I forgot to mention, John. We did say before we went on to that little break that it was going to be eHome up against KG.Luminous, but it does appear there was a switch up last minute. I'm not 100% sure why. I haven't exactly been given reasoning, but well, it is Vici Gaming apparently taking the spot or the position against KG.Luminous instead of eHome. I'm sure there was some scheduling issues going on last minute and they had to just quickly change it up. So Vici Gaming, I mean, they have come in last minute, so we'll see how they perform. They certainly weren't expecting to have to play today because they didn't have any games in this day of the group stage, but nevertheless, I'm sure they're prepared. They look prepared and their draft says they're definitely prepared.
Definitely so. It definitely does, Mike. I am looking forward to see how Paparazzi does this time. I'm looking forward to how they, end up utilizing this Dazzle. Again, this is probably one of the more underwhelming picks we've seen so far here in DPL. It just has not panned out well, but that is because they've been running at its core and trying to play around that CDR, which, I feel is a pretty smart play. It just, it works in pubs. I hear a lot of stories about it in pubs, but in the pro scene so far, no one has really managed to abuse that bad juju just yet.
We'll see if it comes anytime soon. It'd be nice to see the Dazzle support work out though, because it definitely has been very unsuccessful as of late. DY. Beyond that hero, see what he can get done. He's been playing fantastically over the past couple days, though he has been on more like Elder Titans. That's what we've been really seeing him on. But we'll see how he does on a Dazzle. Does look like there won't be any block coming out of the top lane. Erica, he's just not interested whatsoever in taking that harassment from DY. He will just allow it to run through to the tier 1 tower. So this may ruin the creep equilibrium just a bit for the side of the Dire. Not sure how much KG.L are going to care about that, but I suppose up against the Beastmaster, who already is a real pain in the ass to lane against, you probably don't want to give that good lane position away.
Definitely not. And the Beastmaster, again, we talked about this in the draft phase, with the emphasis on the summons. Once again, you do have that boar coming out early on. It can apply a decent amount of harass if you're not careful, and this lane is just pretty strong for VG, I have to say. The Morphling takes a while to really sustain and secure its last hits. The Rubik is there to slow that down as well with the Fade Ball. So it's definitely not an easy time here for Erica up top.
We see DY. He did rotate down to the bot lane. Not easy to trade right clicks. Again with a Shadow Shaman, but DY doing a pretty good job of it. Protoss actually taking a lot of harassment here. DY might actually go for the kill. And it looks like he is. He might just be able to tick him down with that poison. One more right click will do the job. And DY, he will end up finding it though. His own life will be forfeit to the tower. But the gold gets split and he will respawn in just 5 seconds. Certainly worthwhile.
Definitely worthwhile for DY securing that first blood. He buys a lot of space for his aim to just kind of take a creep wave by himself. No threat from the Doom. And it's going to be hard for the Doom to actually sustain here. Xiaofu, already out of mana. Granted, Devour is a fairly cheap spell. But if he cops too many right clicks from Paparazzi, he will not be able to sustain in this lane.
Well, they're going again, John. Protoss. Going to be in trouble. Paparazzi goes for the blink, and Protoss is dead. So DY setting up 2 kills already in this bot lane.
Yeah, very good start for this Dazzle. Very active. I think this is something we were missing in the last times we've seen the Dazzle as well. They just, because they were being run its course, of course they were focusing mainly on those last hits, but Poison Touch is pretty strong early on, and we're seeing DY use it to great effect.
I guess it goes back to that Poison Sting, John. It does a lot of slow and a lot of damage, and you can underestimate it quite a bit. The Shadow Shaman already doesn't exactly walk very fast, only 287 movement speed with no boots. So once that Poison Sting hits, it is very hard for Protoss to just run out of there safely. We'll see when DY has another go at this. Though it already feels like he's gotten so much for Paparazzi in this lane. And like Xiaofu, it is still a Doom, like he's still going to be able to catch up thanks to that Devour, but it's just not the start you'd be expecting while playing a Doombringer.
Yeah, normally you'd think that a Doom matchup against AM tends to favor the Doom because of your harass with Infernal Blade, but with how aggressive VG is playing this dual lane, again, Xiaofu is always stuck at 0 mana, right? He still has 1 mango left, so if he wished, he could pop it and apply some harass, but Doom just cannot actually trade without Infernal Blade.
Yang actually gets raid top lane, though Protoss is the one we're watching, and it looks like he's dead again, although nice stomp comes out. Paparazzi doesn't have blink available any longer. And the Shadow Shaman got very, very low indeed. He does end up salving up, but DY, he's got that level 2 Poison Touch. It is going to hurt a lot. He's probably just going to have another go as soon as the Shadow Shaman comes in, but Protoss actually moves his way out of the mid lane. He's going to see if he can't find a shackle on Ori. And Mal, of course, is already there waiting. Looks like top lane, there is a bit of an engagement though. Erika in trouble. Is strength morphing up? Should be alright. Although the Fade Bolt does come in and they will finally find the kill. Yang picks that one up. Fade, he does have stick charges. He'll be fine. Raynell may give his own life away trying to chase that kill, and he does.
A very rough start for VG up that, for KG up that top lane again. The harass coming out from this Beastmaster and Rubik makes it very hard for this Morphling to form up.
Yeah, there's bodies falling everywhere, John. Mid lane, they did end up getting Ori on that Razor, but then you look at bot lane and Xiaofu ends up going down. And as tanky as this Doom is, it just doesn't seem like he can survive the mana burn as well as the Wise Poison Touch.
Definitely so. Again, he is tanky in terms of regen, but Doom does only have 1 level of armor. 1 point of armor at early levels. Does have the Stout Shield to kind of mitigate that. But if you keep copying right clicks like that and you can't spam out your Devour, again, you really don't sustain well with just your base regen and your base armor.
Ori mid lane did go for the static link, though he does go to the east side of the map, realizing there was a rotation coming around with Protoss. So he will be perfectly fine. The DY was near anyway in case they did get the shackles off, so he probably would have been okay. And DY, I mean, I realize it's a support dazzle, which is why we're seeing it, but I'm not so used to seeing the Shallow Grave being leveled up so early anymore.
I feel like there's value to that.
Top lane Erika ends up falling again, and now Ray gonna fall for what seems like the 3rd time. In fact, it may just be the 2nd. No, it was the 3rd time the Lich has gone down. Yang is just completely dominating this lane. Like, John, we talk about the Beastmaster and how strong it is, and well, this is why I was questioning the Morphling pick, because there's just not much you can do against this. Look at this, again, they lift him up. He just TP'd in. He does waveform out, but he's got no regen available.
And there goes the Hawk. Try to find out. There is a salve on Erika now, but again, Gang on this Beastmaster and Fade on that Rubik are just doing way too much up top. Even with that Lich. Like, look at this, they're diving tier 1s already.
Yeah, he's got the gaze going, but Ray may just actually end up falling to the boar, who keeps attacking him. Now the waveform forward. Fade does have the lift available if necessary, and that'll be it. You look at Ray, no HP to speak of. He will probably just walk back to the base now. Erika as well. Like, he has no regen available. And, well, while I'm looking at that, Xiaofu, again, bot lane ends up falling.
Yeah, it's definitely very hard for KG.L. I think their laning matchups just weren't ideal. The Doom against AM usually ends up well, but DY has just really been zoning them out way too much. I think Protoss has not managed to pump out the harass as much as he'd want to. Like, he felt really threatened by the Dazzle early on, and losing that ground early on, I think, really cost the Doom his laning phase. Whereas over up top, again, it's just the strength of Beastmaster. And Lich is a great hero, but you need a hero who wants to go inside and kind of force the enemy core to back off. Morphling is not that core. Morphling is not the core that really benefits from Lich. He's not going to be up front to really maximize that Frost Shield damage. And, you know, even set up for a kill with the Sinister Gaze. So I feel like these lane matchups just really weren't going to work out too well. And VG is really benefiting from that match.
Yeah, they certainly are. 9-2 now. Again, Paparazzi basically free farming this whole game. He's got 48 last hits. In terms of net worth, he's only behind his own Beastmaster. And, well, we've seen how much Yang has been farming up heroes. He's 4-0 with 1 assist, or one assist right now. So he's been doing a fantastic job. It does look like they are going to rotate down bot. Ray is there, but he's not even at that level 6 mark. He's only level 3. Frost Shield comes out. Paparazzi, the Mana Shield, is there, although he'll just walk out of there safely. Like, they can't throw anything out once the counterspell is available.
And that's still level 1. It's just the timing for Paparazzi to pop it is usually on point. Even then, if it doesn't even reflect any spell, it's the threat of that breaks that combo. And usually you pop it when you see someone come in and they hesitate for a moment. And that's your opportunity to jump in and force the point. Or just back out like Paparazzi's been doing. He's been farming great now, 55-31, Mike. That's pretty much a free lane for Paparazzi in this bot lane. It's as if he was not even laning against any enemy hero.
Certainly feels that way. DY, they wanted to gank him up in the tree line. He does TP out. Paparazzi now going to be up against 2 heroes himself in the lane, but he can always just go to the jungle and farm up there. That's probably what he will
Top
do.
lane.
Yeah, they'll take down the tier 2 tower, and now the Morphling, Erika, has the Frost Shield. Ori, meanwhile, apparently dives Xiaofu in the mid lane, finds that kill. They do end up getting Ori. Protoss was there to finish it off.
He almost died as well. I mean, it was almost a double kill for our Razor diving that tier 2 while the tier 1 was still up, chasing down a Doom. And he dies to the tower. Fortunately enough for KG.L. But yeah, this is a very bad state of affairs for KG.L. They have a lineup that wants to snowball in that early game with the Doom, with the Lich, with the Shadow Shaman, and the Pugna. Except none of them are about to snowball.
Paparazzi almost ends up going down. Again, the counterspell coming very in handy. That life drain, I don't believe it actually did any damage because he did have the counterspell up. Looks like they're ready to push in mid lane as well on the side of Vici Gaming. They do get the lift off again onto Xiaofu. He has not had a good game so far. And well, Fade, he stole the gaze off the Lich and he will find Xiaofu. With that, the tier 1 mid tower is just gone.
And KG.L is slowly but surely losing map control here. They managed to trade that tier 1 down bot in exchange, but now the tier 2 is under threat, Mike, and this should fall fairly fast. Again, they have a Beastmaster with, you know, max level Boris. It's just gonna melt.
So it does. Another tower gone for the side of KG.L. Mau, what is he giving away? It is the Nether Blast, and that's just only going to speed up the pushing potential now. It's a max Nether Blast that Fade just stole.
This is really looking bad for Keen. They've lost two lanes already entirely. They only have their bot lane left, and that really limits where your Morphling can farm. Like right now, he's farming the Radiant Jungle because that's probably the safest place to be.
Oh, Mau. Well, there's the Poison Touch. They will not go any further. There was too many heroes around, although Fade is moving in. It looks like KG.L will remain grouped up. They will not overextend any further. They must realize how far behind they are now. The exact number on that, John, 9k net worth lead for the side of Vici Gaming 12 minutes into the game. That is insane.
That is very, very significant. If you take a look at the net worth chart, right now, all the cores are just way behind. The only one that's even remotely close to VG's cores is that Pugna. 4.6k compared to Razor's 5.2. Everyone else is basically on the level of Rubik right now. On DY's Rubik, who is a support for VG.
Oh my. Not the greatest of news for the dire end. Getting, like, you look to the Morphling, and like he's just got nothing, and there's just no way he can flash farm on this hero. He's going to be going for a defensive item in that Lincoln Sphere next, and it just doesn't really feel like it's going to help the cause that much.
It's definitely not. I feel like you need a lot more some Morphling to come online. The Lincoln Sphere will help, but you know, one block spell won't really stop you from dying. The stats are great, but you really just kind of lack damage, especially in comparison to Paparazzi's AM, who is just dishing out so much. And he still hasn't, you know, he hasn't even finished his battlefield yet, Mike. Paparazzi's still just going everywhere.
Oh, Xiaofu gets melted, and now Ori linking a lot of damage off Erika, who's linking it back, but is it going to matter that much? He's got a lot of it, but he's still getting bursted down. He morphs back into the Morphling form. Yang making the chase. It's a 2-for-1 trade. They only managed to get DY's Dazzle out of that. And it looks like the side of Vici Gaming are happy to back off.
That was a considerable amount of gold for one kill, though. That was about 285 gold going the way of the Shadow Shaman. Although it is unfortunate you do lose your Doom once more, you will take anything you can get. Although, you know, Shadow Shaman's probably not the ideal hero to get that kill, but it's gold is gold, Mike, and you really have to start closing this deficit as soon as possible.
John, Fade does still the attribute shift. He has now got 1.5k HP. And Erika... I mean, the thing is, we saw this yesterday with KG.L. They drafted a Morphling against a Rubik. And the same thing happened. Like, you're just going to give that free spell away to Rubik, who's just going to get crazy amounts of HP, even though he's level 8. Like a level 8 hero at 1.5k HP. This is an int hero we're speaking of, by the way. And they did this yesterday. And we questioned the same thing. And the same thing happened to them. They got overrun by the opposing draft.
Maybe there's something that KG values, especially in that Morphling. Maybe it's an Erika special, although to be quite frank with you, I'd be very surprised if that was the case. But they keep going back to this hero. Yeah, they found... They're just losing heroes left, right, and center. They're going to lose their tier 2 down bot now. And again, this Morphling I feel like has had zero impact so far.
They're going to go for the tier 3 towers. Necro 3s are up on... In fact, Necro 2, excuse me, are up on Yang. But he does have the gold from the Necro 3 recipe if he really wants it. Doesn't look like he needs it, to be perfectly honest with you. They dropped the Serpent Wards to defend. And it looks like Ori's just going to comfortably clear them out. Now, he does also steal the Ether Shock. It's a lot of damage that comes out of that nuke. They are going to try and go onto Ori. The Hex is there, the Life Drain. They are about to burst him down, but the Shallow Grave is there in time. Ori, can he turn this one around? It doesn't look that way. He does have an Aegis, however. Xiaofu falling very low. Paparazzi comes in. He does get stopped. Now the Doom comes out as well, though he can just run away and just wait that duration out. Erika coming back in. Static Link will be there onto Fade, and it is still going. But it looks like Erika's about to die anyway. He does waveform back in. Now Ori going in again. He does take out one in Protoss. Mind you, the range racks has gone down. And nobody on the side of Vici Gaming are dead yet. Paparazzi jumps in. Mana Voids almost takes 2 heroes out with it. And with that, Ori just gets a triple kill out of nowhere. And now the Doom, going to be in trouble, ends up going down. And they call GG.
16 minutes in. 16 minutes in. I mean, that was a rough start for KG.L. In fact, I actually don't blame them for this. Very hard for them to come back here. Their Morphling was way too far behind. They lost a full set of racks against an AM Beastmaster Razor at 1650. Yeah? There's no way your Morphling can find a farm around the map. Your Pugna's actually playing against the AM, which is not ideal, Mike, because he's in here with a pretty large mana pool. Your Doom just lost to that AM in lane. And it's really hard to recover. I don't blame KG.L for, just calling it quits here and hopefully refreshing for game 2 of the series, because VG is looking really damn good, Mike.
The thing is, though, and I don't mean to pick on KG.Luminous, but I feel like they keep drafting themselves into a corner with these Morphling picks.
They really have odd priorities in their picks. Again, this Morphling, we've questioned it multiple times. It comes out again. If it comes out again in the next game, Mike, I would be very concerned for KG.L.
No,
I have no clue what they're aiming for.
From what I've seen from KG.L, they go for the Morphling, they lose with the Morphling, and then they'll go for the Slark. We'll see if it happens in game number 2, but I could probably bet a lot of money, John, they're probably going to go for a Slark next game.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Nevertheless, we'll check it out very, very soon, guys. Hopefully it won't be too long. It is MLPDota and JohnXFire. We hope you're enjoying. We'll be right back in just a moment.